Hello, everybody. This is Corey, and I'm going to do the I'm going to do the trades and holdings for August 27th, and I'll also show you the trades for, heck, now that I realize that there's a couple of days I didn't do videos. Shoot. So I was going to say the 26th, but I also didn't show you the trades from Friday. So I'm not gonna have time for that because Friday I think was a lot of trades. So let's do this. Let's just get started. Just a reminder, I'm not a qualified licensed investment or financial advisor. I just gather data and present it to you. As a reminder, YieldMax ETFs are extremely risky, so please be careful and be aware of what you're investing in before doing so. All right, so Friday. So they're not even, I don't even have them in alphabetical order. So these are all the trades. Yeah, there's no way that I'd be able to go over these. But there's about 100 lines here, some of them being blank of all the trades. If you want to pause and look at these, don't know if y'all care for me to actually go over them. I guess if you did, you could always let me know, and I could always do a separate video. I have about 30 minutes, so we're going to cram this video in 30 minutes. So I will go over this, try to go over this fairly quickly and not get off on things. So we have the trades from the 26th here and the 27th. As you can see, there's not many from the 26th. And there is a few from the 27th. Of course, to me, one of the most important things is looking at the strike prices for the week. And I know it's unfortunate that I'm just now doing this. I wanted to do it the last few days. I just haven't been able to. And if I ever get around to doing a video, I'll let y'all know what's going on with me these days. I've been wanting to do one for many weeks. I just tend to never get around to it on my commute videos or anything, because then I'm usually in a rush and I don't have time or to think or slow down to do that. But anyway, we're going to jump straight into the holdings. I don't see any trades for our first one, which is Abney. So we have Abney here with a short call. So before we get started, NVIDIA earnings are after the close today, so anything can happen with any of these, right? Because depending on what NVIDIA does, it's going to depend on basically what the rest of the market's going to do. So keep that in mind. And you may or may not want to wait, and just see how things go with that before doing anything. But anyway. So Abney here has a short call with a 119 strike. We're underneath that 2%. Possible upside here of about 30 cents for the week for the short call, which is about 1.9%. And then we have AIYY. We have a short call of $25. AI went down almost $1 yesterday, but anyway, we're underneath that $25 strike price by 6%. Possible upside here of about 58 cents, which is about 5.88%. As you can see, we got underneath $10 yesterday. Then we have AMDY, where we did have trades. So here we just have Tesla, Squee, and some shorts. But here for AMDY, you can see they added 170 contracts to the synthetic and the short call. Overall, it looks like it cost them $92,000 to make those trades. But you can see those there. And they added it to that 160 strike price. It looks like AMDY did go down slightly yesterday. But looking at this, we have a 160 and 162.50 at 6 and underneath those 6 and 7%. The majority of the contracts are at the 160, just a slightly more than the 162.50. But to get at that 160 short call, it looks like the short call could increase the AMDY stop price by 54 cents. And so this is a typo. For some reason, and this is the why I didn't do the video the morning before, is because Google is having an issue pulling over some of these prices, and then I had to go through and manually update lots of things, and by the time I did that, I had to leave the house for my appointments. And then I had to do the exact same thing again last night. So I've been changing some of my workbooks to pull the data from one spot instead of pulling the data multiple times in multiple different things. So when this happens, I can only have to look up the stock prices and update them one time in one place, and it'll pull over. But I'm still working on that. So sorry, that was a typo there, though. So anyway, I was talking about the upside of about 54 cents, which, that's awesome in itself. If we could even get above $15, that's the short-term milestone, right? Since AMD has come down so far. AMDY, sorry. All right, let's move on. AMZ, let's check. Yep, we had trades yesterday. So they closed out. I don't know why these aren't sorted right, but they closed out the 182.50 strike price that was going to close this Friday. 182.50, and they brought it down to 180. I'm seeing that on several of these now. So I don't know if that means they're expecting NVIDIA to be bad and all of these are going to come down, because if NVIDIA is good and these go up, now they're going to be capped. That's one of the reasons I know it was asked the other day, why did they close them out earlier when they had a chance? But this is now where then they get capped for the week if it does decide to go up. But anyway, so yeah, we were looking at AMZ there. So they closed it for 14 cents, received $1.02 in premium. So AMZ here, you can see the new short call there with the strike price of 180. We're currently underneath that 4%. Possible upside here of about 73 cents for AMZ. With that, if it did get to the 180 with that and getting over the synthetic, we might be able to get up to 120. But anyway, just based on the short call, that's almost a 3.8% increase. And then we have Apple here. We have a short call of 830 with a 230 strike price. We're underneath that 1% or a couple of dollars, upside of about 16 cents, which is only like 0.86%. Then we have Babu. So I didn't look to see what our next one was. So Phoebe. Babu, we have two short calls. We have an 87 and an 88 strike price. We're underneath those 6 and 7%. The majority of the contracts are at the 88 strike price. So maybe we can get a little more than $1 upside for this. That would be great. So let's move on. We have Coney. We have a 215 and a 217.50 strike price. We're beneath those 8 and 9%. Of course, this is going down because crypto going down. The majority of the contracts are at the 215 strike price, so it's about a 65-cent upside there if we get up to the 215 strike price. Dizzo, we have a 91 strike price. We are only underneath that 10 cents. So it looks like we only have about a 2-cent upside, which is only 0.1% for the short calls. So Phoebe, it looks like they added 35 contracts to the synthetic and created a new short call with a 532.50 strike price for this week. Let's just make sure it wasn't anything other than that. It was not. And you can see all the data there. All right, so we have the 132.50 and the the 532.50 and the 545. We're underneath those 3 and 5%. Of course, the majority of the contracts are at 545 strike price. It looks like we have a possible 88 or so cent upside for that, which are a little over 4.5% upside for Phoebe. It'd be pretty good if it could get up to, because that gets us above the synthetic. It might get us back up to $20 if we could get up to there. Of course, that's a big jump in 1 week, if so. So I don't know how likely that is. I guess it depends on NVIDIA. All right, what was after Phoebe? Murney. All right, so we have GDXY here. $40 strike price. We're underneath that 2% or 78 cents. Possible upside of about 37 cents is a couple of for the short call, which gives us a couple of percent increase there. GUI with the 167.50 and the 170 straight price. We're underneath those 2 and 3%. Looks like Google went down about $1.50 yesterday. Looks like our contracts are split evenly here. So maybe about I don't know, just looking at the first strike price, about a 16-cent upside there to get to that 167.50 for the short call. And again, I must have had another typo here. This should have been up. Okay, let's just do that. Which means they're going to be wrong on my daily sheet where I type, no, because in this case, I typed them in 2 different places, I think. Or multiple different places. JPMO, we have 2 short calls, 220, 222.50. We're already above the 220 by 18 cents. And we're underneath the 222.50 by 1%. It looks like we have about 1/3 of the contracts at the 220 strike price and 2/3 at the 222.50. So I don't know, 7 and 10 upside here for the short calls. And then we have Murney. All right, so let's see what we have. They might have closed out of one. I think that's one I was talking about a minute ago. So yeah, here they closed out one of them, the $88 strike price for 12 cents. And we have a new one for next week with a strike price at $83. And they received $1.21 in premium for that. So if we go back over here, we can see they still have an $86 strike price for this week and an $83 strike price for next week. We're about split on the shares. So the 83, if we look at the $83 strike price, even though it expires next week, right now it's showing that's about a 26-cent upside, which sucks. Yesterday it looks like we came down 36 cents yesterday for the drop in the stock price. All right. MSFO. Let me look to see our next trades just to make sure. OARC. All right. MSFO, we have a 425 strike price. We're underneath that 3%. Possible upside of about 52 cents here. Give us above the $20 mark. It's about 2.6% increase for the short call. And then we have 3 short calls for Misty, 146, 148, and 150. And we have $441 million sitting in cash. All right. So this dropped almost $7 yesterday. MicroStrategy itself did. which brought us down about 70 cents for Misty. But the 146, 148, 150 were underneath those 4, 5, and 7%. Majority of the contracts are at the 150 strike price. So should this go up, we have a possible upside of about $1.50, $1.58. So about 6.5% increase there for the short calls. All right, we have Nestle 720 strike price, which are under 3%. Possible upside of 57 cents, or about $3.37% increase for the short calls. NVIDIA, we have a 124 and 130 strike price. We're above the 124. About $4.30. So it could be a bad day if the stock does increase, because then we also have the 130. We're only underneath 1%. From what I heard, the expected move for NVIDIA is somewhere around 12% up or down. All right. So I guess either way, whether it goes up or it goes down, it doesn't look great for NVIDIA holders. We might have some upside here on the short call. But I don't know how much. We have a third of our contracts at the 124 and 2/3 sitting at the 130. Then we have OARC here. We can see they closed out of 495 contracts. And there's all of the trades there. The 46.50 strike price, we're underneath that 2%, or like $1.08. Possible upside for the short call of about 24 cents, which is about 2.3% upside. And then you could see all the data for the trades there. And then we have Crash. Well, we have Tesla and Squee next. All right, let's go to PayPay. We have a $73 strike price. We're underneath that 2% with a possible upside of about 36 cents or 2% for the short calls. Then we have Snowy with the 125 and 126 strike price. We're underneath those 8%. And a majority of the contracts are mainly split, but the majority are about the 125 strike price. Possible upside there of about 70 cents if we can get up to the 125 strike price. So we got quite a bit of room for the upside unless they decide to close these out early, because we're already at those, but maybe they were going to try to get some upside after last week's earnings. Pretty sure that was last week. And then we have Squee here. So let's look at our trades from the other day. So Squee, they closed out of 640 contracts for the synthetic and the short call. But so we have 67 and 68 strike price. We're underneath those 1 and 2%. The one for 1% is only like 36 cents. Majority of the contracts are at the 67 strike price, so it looks like only about 7 more cent upside for the short call here for Squee. Then we have Tesla, and we had trade. So let's go. Here they added 900. I'm just now noticing these are out of alphabetical order, but I guess I didn't necessarily put them in order either. There wasn't a lot here. But we have Tesla here, but they added 900 contracts to the synthetic and the 222.50 short call. So we had the 222.50 and the 225 are underneath those 6 and 7%. Of course, the majority of the contracts are at the 225, so we have about 80 or so cent increase there. If we could get up to the 225 strike price, about 6.5% or so increase. TSMY, we have 177.50, 180. We're underneath those 4 and 5%. Majority of the contracts are at the 177.50 strike price, upside of about 45 cents for that short call. All right, Zomo here, we have a 117 strike price. We're already above this one by 68 cents. Of course, it looks like we were even worse the day before. So no upside here for the short call itself. And then we have Crash. So Crash, we had, they added 40 contracts to the synthetic short put and long call the other day. You can see those trades there. So we have 4 short puts, 205, 207.50, 210, and 212.50. Of course, we're underneath the 210 and the 212.50 already. Let's move on to dips here. So for dips, we do have trades also. They added 65 contracts to them. So we can see here we have 2 short puts. We have a 114 and a 117. We're right now above these 10 and 13%. And then we have Fiat. Fiat here, they added 25 contracts the other day to all of them. And we have 3 short puts, 190, 192.50, and 197.50. And we are currently above them all, though we are close to the 197.50 there. And then YQQQ. All right. I guess we don't have trades for that one, so they just added to all the other ones. Pissed people aren't buying into the YQQQ, so no trades there. But we have 2 short puts of 464 and 466. We're above those 3 and 2%. Then we have a YBit here. They closed out 1,275 contracts. That is a lot. I don't know if I've seen, well, I guess this is a lower stock, but man, that's a lot. Anyway, we got a 21.50 strike price for BITO. We're underneath that currently 6%. Possible upside of about 92 cents here if BITO could get up to the 21.50 strike price, which is about 6%, 6.2%. And then let's open this up. If we go down to YMAX, we can see our synthetic and short call there. So the short call for this week, we have an $84 strike price for Moderna. And then we still have the $85 strike price for the synthetics for September 27th. Anyway, that was it. Sorry for the rush. And if you did need me to read through the August 23rd trades, just let me know. I did show them on the screen, though. You could just pause and look at them. But anyway, I will talk to y'all later. Bye.